2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. You already know, man. It's your boy Hype Fan Eagle representing the Philadelphia Eagles by way of New Jersey. You already know, man. Shout out to my first time viewers. Shout out to my last time viewers. Shout out to the people that's viewing this video, whether religiously or in passing. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you will be notified when I go on live. You already know, man. Shout out to my boy Young Jers, man. You know what I mean? The other half of Hype Fan Eagle, man. If y'all rock with him, you know what I mean? Make sure y'all put a thumbs up in the chat. You already know, man. This video is brought to you by hypewave91.com. That is hypewave91.com, man. Merch made for comfort, man. Shout out to the Holla at Your Boy podcast. That's the other part of content that I do. If you want to view full videos or clips, you can subscribe to the other YouTube channel at DSTV103. That is DSTV103. And don't forget, y'all, that I will be dropping some podcast clips on this channel to keep the channel alive. You hear? I will be posting some podcast clips on this channel to keep the channel alive. You know what I mean? So it will be infused with a little bit of Hype Fan Eagle and, you know, podcast also. You know what I mean? We got to keep rolling with the punches. I will be reporting on some playoff games too. You know what I mean? So just be expecting me to be talking about whoever's in the playoffs. You know what I mean? While I'm talking about the Eagles. You feel what I'm saying? So be expecting that for sure. I know this is an Eagles platform, but I love football. I like football. So we get right into it. You feel what I'm saying? Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and what's going on with them so far since we have been removed from the playoffs, man. I want to start off with the latest news that the Philadelphia Eagles had relieved Kevin Patullo of his coaching duties. I repeat, the Philadelphia Eagles had relieved Kevin Patullo of his coaching duties. You know, I'm never the one to applaud somebody, you know, getting fired. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. But at the same time, we had to make a change at the offensive coordinator spot. You know what I mean? Somebody had to go. And I know Nick Sirianni wasn't going to go. You know, somebody had to go. You know what I mean? There was reports that Kevin Patullo in one of his interviews, I don't know which one because I didn't see it, but there are reports that he was not taking the blame. He actually said that none of it was his fault. Or listen, and I'm paraphrasing, but he actually said that it wasn't his fault. EC1 was good, my boy. He didn't get fired. He got brought. He might get brought back. From what I know, he got fired, right? But there's a possibility that he will get brought back. You know what I'm saying? So that might be as our wide receiver coach. I hope not. You know what I mean? Listen, honestly, if he get brought back, it won't surprise me because he was a part of this Philadelphia Eagles organization for 5 years. My thing is that to combat that, we need a strong OC. Now, there's rumblings and rumors that we might end up picking up that we might end up interviewing Kevin Stefanski, or it's another coach. It's another coach in the mix. Kevin Stefanski and somebody else. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Then that's not getting fired. That's trying to justify. Like I said, put it like this, until further notice, he is relieved from his coaching duties. Until further notice. You know what I mean? That's that. You know what I mean? There's reports that he has been fired. I like to say relieved from his coaching duties. But until he gets hired again, that's where it stands at. You know what I mean? Until there's reports saying that we brought him back, that's where it stands at. Yeah, it's the other coaches that we are, I guess, supposedly looking at is Kevin Stefanski and somebody else. You feel what I'm saying? But I do want us to take a hard look in a lot of these coaches. I want us to deep dive. I just don't want us to fill in the gap. You know what I mean? I want us to actually go in there, deep dive, and, you know, really look this thing through. What offensive coordinator is going to be able to fit or what's going to be the best for Jalen Hurts? You know what I mean? What offensive coordinator? Tommy Sirianni as head coach. What you mean? I swear. Oh, Tommy Sirianni. That's Nick head. That's Nick brother. Oh, listen. Anybody that got any ties with Nick Sirianni, we don't need. Let me know if I'm good. Let me know if I'm good. Let me know if I'm a little bit. I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody that got any connections with Nick Sirianni. I need for us to go get a offensive coordinator that was a head coach at one time, or somebody that got real offensive coordinator experience, like a Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore came from the Dallas Cowboys, and then he went to the he was with the Cowboys for a minute. Then he went to the Los Angeles Chargers, and then he went to then he went to us. Now he's a head coach at the Saints. But I say that to say that Kellen Moore had real offensive coordinator experience. He knew what to do. Even if he had to make adjustments when it came to Jalen Hurts and make adjustments to Jalen Hurts' ability, he was all he was all in the right to do so because he was familiar with how to run an offense. You know what I mean? Kevin Patullo, it wasn't that for him. That was his first time being able to call plays. Even though he was in an organization, he never called plays before. I'm on timeout. What you mean you on timeout? What's going on? Now, man, and shout out to my boy EC1, man. If y'all haven't yet, please subscribe to his channel, man. He do great content as well. You feel what I'm saying? EC1 definitely do great content. But yeah, what you mean you on timeout? Out of bounds. Shout out to my boy Out of Bounds. What you mean you want timeout? You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like I said, bro, we gotta get an experienced offensive coordinator, bro. Nah, you good, bro. You good, man. Listen, you are good, bro. Don't even trip. You know what I mean? Listen, I made you a moderator for a reason because you my guy. You know what I mean? You my right hand up on this Hype Fan Eagle joint. You my guy. So you good, man. You good, you feel me? But yeah, man, like I said, bro, we got to get somebody that's experienced. You know what I mean? Somebody that either was a head coach before or got experience, play calling, and that's that. You know what I mean? When a lot of people break down the game from Sunday when we played against the San Francisco 49ers, when a lot of people break that down, you see that from content creator to NFL analyst, you see that the play calling is high school play calling. The schemes is high school schemes. To where as though you don't that Kevin Patullo plays. These plays were high school plays. It's a scheme and against an offense who have no creativity. It's easy. What do you want Jalen Hurts to do? Where do you want Jalen Hurts to go with the ball if he has nowhere to go with the ball? You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about, Shady McCoy and a lot of these other cats talking about Jalen Hurts got time in the pocket. Of course he got time in the pocket. Of course he roll out the pocket because there's nobody open. So he's sitting there thinking, what should I do? He's going to roll out and try to create a play because there's nobody that's open. He either got 3 wide receivers that's doing the same route, 2 wide receivers that's in the same vicinity, and all the wide receivers is going out for go balls. Or it's Saquon Barkley running up the middle. There's no creativity in his offense. So what do you want a quarterback like Jalen Hurts to do with the ball? And that's why it's hard to debate with other people because they already have a narrative on Jalen Hurts, especially other content creators. They don't see the real deal. They do not see the real deal. You know what I mean? They do not see the real deal when Jalen Hurts. They do not break down film. Like me, for instance, right? I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, right? But at the same time, I'm not biased. I give Dak Prescott credit when he needs credit. And then when he deserves constructive criticism or criticism, I go in. Same thing with other Philadelphia Eagles content creators. I'm not delusional. So I will give somebody credit when they deserve credit. But I'm not about to sit up here just because I'm rivals with the opposing team. I'm not about to sit up here and bash the quarterback when, okay, cool. If he had a good game, he had a good game. If he didn't, he didn't. Period. I don't like Dallas. But if Dallas out there putting BTA on another team, I'm going to say it. Period. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put a narrative around another quarterback or a team if, we don't do that. You know what I mean? Talking to the haters about Jalen is like telling a fiend to stop smoking crack. Real talk. That's one of the best analogies. One of the best analogies, bro. And granted, there's times when Jalen Hurts not looking good. And we got to call it for what it is. But we're not going to act like he's been trying to perform his best in the high school offense, in the high school scheme. We're not going to act like that. If y'all don't listen to me, if y'all don't believe me, go listen to a recent clip of Dan Orlovsky when he's talking about it. You know what I mean? When he's talking about it. You know what I mean? So right now, to sum this whole offensive coordinator thing up, we got to get a competent offensive coordinator. We got to get somebody who got experience in play calling. You know what I mean? I think that we should head in that direction. We should not hire within no more. We should not hire nobody that's first-time play callers. On an NFL level, because I'm not sure Kevin Patullo's background when it comes to the collegiate level, high school, or whatever, if he was calling plays. But on an NFL level, we cannot hire anybody that don't have experience play calling on an NFL level. No Brian Johnsons of the world. No Kevin Patullo's of the world. We should not be doing that. We should not be doing that at all. You know what I mean? Let's get into this A.J. Brown drama. A.J. Brown stuff. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm with the organization first. I'm always a Philadelphia Eagles fan before anything. I don't care if Jalen Hurts leave. I don't care if Smitty leave. I don't care if A.J. Brown leave. I don't care if Zach Bond leave. I don't care if Nick Sirianni leave. I don't care if Saquon Barkley leave. I'm going to always remain a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Period. With that being said, right? We never had a caliber wide receiver like A.J. Brown. Besides T.O., we never had a caliber wide receiver like A.J. Brown. We never had somebody with the capabilities like an A.J. Brown besides T.O. And if you want to throw Deshaun Jackson in, I would give you that. Deshaun Jackson was special. T.O. was special for the time that he was here. But as far as like a 10-year, we never had nobody that's special like A.J. Brown. With that being said, right? I'm team first. If you're the type of person that causes drama in the locker room, you know what I mean? Then we don't need you. I'm all for production on the field. And I believe this, right? If A.J. Brown didn't stir the pot in the beginning of the season, then I believe that the drops that he had towards the end of the season, because this is not the only time that he was under a microscope for dropping the football. You know what I mean? He dropped the football in the Detroit game. It's wild. I believe that he would not be under a microscope if he didn't stir the pot up in the beginning of the season. I believe that his drops wouldn't be of this magnitude if he didn't stir the pot in the season. In the beginning of the season. I wholeheartedly believe that. That's just my thinking, right? Now, he would have gotten some scrutiny, but I believe that the way how it went, him not talking to the media, him doing, putting his jersey in Quinyon Mitchell's locker for everybody to see, I believe that none of that would have existed. I believe that he would have been able to face the pressure of the media if he did have those drops, if he didn't stir the pot in the beginning of the season. That's just my thinking. Now, if we decide to get rid of him from the research that I've done and everything, there will be either a $20 to $23 million cap hit, right? This my other thing also. Right? Is that if we get rid of him, cool. If we don't get rid of him, cool. I'm all for it. Whatever it is, I'm all for. You know what I mean? I'm all for. But I want to be, I want him to be in line with the team, right? Of course, everybody want their stats. Of course, everybody get frustrated. Of course, wide receivers drop the ball. It's going to happen. Just like quarterbacks, they may miss a read, miss a throw. Just like a running back, they may miss a hole. You know what I mean? Of course, a wide receiver is going to drop the ball. Not everybody is not perfect. But I still need you to be aligned with the team. I still need you to be a win first. You know what I mean? Put the team first. Whatever it is. Whatever your job is, that's what I need you to do. You've been an All-Pro before. You got the accolades before. You know what I mean? You came to an organization that's about winning championships. That's our number one goal. That is our number one goal. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Hype fan. AJ Brown is too much of a problem. Listen, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. You know what I mean? I'm with you on that, Peter Walker. My God, I'm with you on that. And that's why I'm saying if we do end up getting rid of him, I have no problem with that. You know, I have no problem with that. Honestly. Should I set his ass down like T.O.? We've been through this already. You know what I mean? We've been through it already. You know what I mean? I believe that, you know, and T.O. is very comparable, except for the outside antics. But there are similarities when it comes to, you know, sideline issues, media issues. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, I don't know, man. There's been times, bro, when he's on ill and he's not giving his 100% effort. He's late. He's not blocking. There's been times when he's been doing that. That's also frustrating. I never seen that from Smitty. And even if Smitty did it, the thing is, we don't see it because Smitty don't talk a lot. He don't stir the pot. You know what I mean? So the microscope is not on him. The cameras is not on him. The cameras is going to be on AJ because of what? Because of the distraction in the locker room, bro. Nick got to be gone. Game destroyer. I ain't gonna lie. Nick can be an issue at times, but overall, I like Nick Sirianni. He also got to do some maturing as a coach. As a coach, he got to do some maturing. And, you know, listen, when you look at it like this, bro, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have grown together. They came in this together. When you talk about a head coach growing with their quarterback, that's what it is, right? They both have the same accomplishments. So I feel like you cannot get rid of Nick if you're not getting rid of successful. Both successful. Now, this is what I don't like about the Philadelphia Eagles fans, right? Is that y'all have to understand there's two things. I feel like I'm spitting right now. There's two things, right? And when I say spitting, I mean talking facts. There's two things, right? You cannot expect an NFL team to go to the Super Bowl every year. I feel like we got spoiled in that aspect. I feel like once Philadelphia Eagles fans got a taste of a Super Bowl or two, we feel like we have to be there every year. And that's not reality. That's not reality because things change during the offseason, right? When you win a Super Bowl, you cannot keep everybody in. You cannot acquire everybody. There's going to be moving pieces. There's going to be changes. The same game plan that we had last year, you cannot take that into the next year. And that's why I feel like we failed that. We failed that. We didn't change the game plan. So as Philadelphia Eagles fans, I know we want to be in a Super Bowl every year, but that's not reality. That's not reality, right? I agree 100%. Word is born, Out of Bounds podcast. That's real talk. I still believe we can win a Super Bowl without AJ Brown. I believe so too. Honestly. Now I mean, I believe that we get a collective of very good wide receivers. I believe that we could win a Super Bowl 100% without AJ Brown. That is all facts. That is all facts. You know what I mean? I do want to say this also, right? When it comes to us not being there, you know, every year, right? Is that, you know, in my heart of hearts, I'm glad that we didn't go on to the next round, you know, and extend the playoffs, because that would have swept everything up under the, you know, that would have swept everything under the rug. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of our wins this year swept a lot of problems under the rug. For one, we were so happy and we were settled with the wins that we had, not knowing that the wins that we had weren't convincing. It wasn't dominant. We didn't have a one convincing win other than the Minnesota Vikings win. If you want me to keep it real, we didn't look good while we were winning. And let's say if we did win let's say we did win a football game by 3 points, did it look convincing? It didn't. I'm glad we didn't proceed, because if we would have kept on in the playoffs, that means we would have kept Kevin Patullo. We would have swept all the problems up under the rug. If you want me to be honest, this was a blessing in disguise for the Philadelphia Eagles. A blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? When our scheme was hit open wide receivers, we were successful. You know what I mean? When our scheme was just to throw to AJ Brown, we lost. I believe so too, bro. I believe that's also true. Once we started pleasing AJ Brown, I believe that, you know, everybody else was doomed. Now, y'all, you got to remember, in the beginning, Jalen Hurts, you know, he was being methodical with the ball. You know what I mean? He was throwing to open wide receivers. He didn't really care. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he didn't care, but whoever was open, he was throwing to. When AJ Brown started complaining and the noise got louder, that became the focus. And that turns into him having misreads, him not seeing the field 100%. You know what I'm saying? That also was a problem. So if we would have proceeded in the playoffs, then that would have been swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of good things coming out from us not being in the playoffs, us getting knocked out. There's a lot of good things about that. A lot of good things. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good things while we're not in the playoffs. You know what I mean? There's a video clip of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in the auditorium after, you know, it was a team meeting. So I guess whenever, you know, you're about to exit, you have the last interview with the media or whatever like that in the locker room, and then you have a team meeting before y'all go to Cancun. You know what I mean? Before everybody go to Cancun, you have a last team meeting. And it was just Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts in an auditorium in the Philadelphia Eagles facility. And they both had a heart-to-heart. And Jalen Hurts said, "We'll be back." And Nick Sirianni looked at the man in his eye and said, "I know we will." And that's what I mean. We can't fire Nick Sirianni, because that is a quarterback head coach duo right there, bro. They grew up together. They got the same accolades. The same. You know they're going to be back together. You know it's going to be some changes. And that's why you got to applaud and appreciate the type of organization that we have. Right? Because there will be a time where we go back to the dark ages when we might not have a competent quarterback. Oh, snap. It was a major accident, yo. Damn. Major accident. There might be a time, and not even might, there's going to be a time where we're not going to have Vic Fangio, where we're not going to have this popping ass defense, where we're not going to have Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, when we're not going to have Nick Sirianni, when we're not going to have Smitty, when we're not going to have AJ, when we're not going to have this offensive line that's pretty good, even though it was banged up, but still better than most. When we're not going to have a very good defense, a young core defense. There's going to be a time when we're not going to have that. And Philadelphia Eagles fans need to appreciate what we got right now, because there's going to be a time where we're going to go back to the dark ages, bro. Y'all want to complain, and I'm not talking about all of y'all, but majority of y'all want to complain and, thinking that we're supposed to be in the Super Bowl. Just appreciate that we're able to make a playoffs and we're able to have a chance to compete for Lombardi. Appreciate that, because it's going to be a time where we're not going to be able to compete. It's going to be a time where we're going to be bums. Y'all remember, we were there. We were there when we in 2016. We were there in 2019. We were there in 2020. We were there in 2015. We were there with the Dream Team. Y'all remember that? So y'all better appreciate these moments. That's why it's so important to hire a proven, competent OC. That's what I was saying, bro. You got to. And listen, pardon me for not reading all of y'all full comments and everything like that. But I'm driving and stuff like that, so I can't read the whole shindig. But I get the gist of what you're saying. You know what I mean? I get the gist of what you're saying. You feel what I'm saying? But that's that, bro. It's like, y'all gotta appreciate these moments, bro. You know what I mean? You gotta appreciate the food that's on the pot. Cause in a little bit, we'll be eating some goddamn oodles and noodles. You know what I mean? Right now we living in a mansion. We'll be back in the slums in a couple years. We'll be back in the slums. Cause that's how the game works. That's how the game works. You never stay at the top for too long. You never stay. Ask the Patriots. They had a long run. They've been in a drought. Ask the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, a good comparison to the Philadelphia Eagles in their prime is the Seattle Seahawks. Ask Seattle Seahawks. Similar situations. Although they had a better defense. I want to give them that. But we also got a pop in defense. Our defense is amazing. But they had a better defense because they had the Legion of Boom. But similar, not saying organizations, but similar seasons, similar teams. Similar, they won a Super Bowl. No, they lost a Super Bowl and they won a Super Bowl. Similar seasons, you know what I mean? Similar outcomes. Ask them. They've been trying to get right for the longest. You could easily go back, bro. Also, we got to give blame to Jeffrey Lurie and Harry Roseman for allowing Nick Sirianni to hire Kevin Patullo. You know what I mean? I put it like this, bro. Long story short, we should not hire within. We already did that. We already done that. You know what I mean? Brian Johnson, we hired Brian Johnson, first time play caller in the NFL. I don't know about his collegiate career. I don't know about his high school career. But first time play caller in the NFL and Brian Johnson, and he failed. First time play caller and Kevin Patullo in the NFL. I don't know about his collegiate career. I don't know about his high school career. But first time play caller, both hired withins, and they failed. You have to go get somebody proven. You have to go get somebody who got accomplishments under their belts. Just like how you did a Vic Fangio, you got somebody who got years and years of football knowledge. You got to go get somebody who is proven. No more higher withins. I'm not absolving Nick Sirianni from any blame. I'm just saying we cannot get rid of him. You know what I mean? What I will say about Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie is that they both try their best. That's why I can't put no blame on them. Because when it comes to making or trying to make a competitive roster, they attack. Even when we have, listen, they try to correct their mistakes. They try to attack. And that's what I want to give them two credit for, is that they don't gun-ho Nick Sirianni. Jeffrey Lurie don't gun-ho Howie Roseman. They give them the keys to try to make it work. And that's what I want to give them credit for. Know what I mean? Salute, man. Salute, Rashid. You already know, man. You already know, man. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure that you subscribe, like, hit that notification bell. Please, it is very important to keep this channel rolling, because now we're in the off season, so we have to report. Listen, I don't do good with mock drafts and all of that. I'm not that guy. So I will be reporting on the Philadelphia Eagles and what's going on with them. I also will be reporting on a lot of these playoff games. And I also will be putting some of my podcast content on this page, if y'all don't mind. If y'all don't mind, I will be putting some of my podcast content on this page just to keep the ball rolling, to make sure that I give my hype family some content, you know what I mean, some food for thought. I got to keep the ball rolling, you know what I mean, on this page. So I will be having more than just one content, but just know it's always Philadelphia Eagles content first. It's always Philadelphia Eagles football first. But I will be feeding y'all other content, so it is very important for y'all to subscribe, bro. I agree. They attack and they fail. I can't give them no credit. I gotta give them credit, bro. They always attack and they swing. Even if they miss, bro, you gotta give them credit for attempting when it comes to swinging, bro. It ain't like they just got the baseball bat and they're just at the plate. Come on, bro, what are you doing? It ain't like they go. God damn. It ain't like they just got a baseball bat and they at the plate and they're not swinging. No, they swing. Even if they miss, they swing. You know what I mean? They swung at Zach Bond, a guy from nowhere. They swung at Quinyon Mitchell. Okay, matter of fact, let's not even talk about them. They swung at giving BG another chance, right? They swung at Zadarius Smith. Remember, he retired, right? They swung at Jalen Phillips. So they do swing. You feel what I'm saying? They brought in Fred Johnson. They swung at him again. So they do swing and they do make attempts, and that's why I want to give them their credit. Even if the attempts don't work out, we are one of the few organizations that do stuff like this. We just don't sit back and we allow the team to be a team. No, we try to improve in every way possible. Even if it don't work, we try to improve. We are one of the few teams that do that. We are one of the few teams that do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I can't really give Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie any type of blame, because they do that. You know what I mean? Nick Sirianni deserves some blame. Matter of fact, if I want to give them blame, pardon me, if I want to give them blame, it's for them not firing Kevin Patullo in the right time that they needed to fire him. We could have fired him in week 11, week 10. They didn't do that. So that's the only thing I give them blame for, as far as them two, as far as Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. As far as Nick Sirianni, he get a ton of blame. But with that blame, I do not want to get rid of Nick Sirianni. I do not want to get rid of Nick Sirianni. No. But listen, y'all, this was a very, very good talk. Listen, I appreciate every last single one of y'all. You know what I mean? I'm about to be at work. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all have a blessed day. Don't let nobody take you away from your day. Don't let nobody, make you feel down. You know what I mean? Always keep your head up. You know what I mean? Always keep God first. Keep your head up, man, and make sure you have a blessed day. You feel what I'm saying? Please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Throughout the day and throughout the weeks, I will be posting my podcast clips on this page. And if you want to see the full clips and the full interview, then you can full clips and full podcast video, and you can subscribe to my other YouTube page at DSTV103. That is DSTV103. But in the meantime, you know what I mean? Listen, one love to everybody. Salute to all my brothers, man. Salute Peter Walker. Salute my guy, Out of Bounds Podcast. Salute Rashid. Everybody in this chat. Salute everybody, man. You already know, man. It's your boy, Hype Fan Eagle, representing the Philadelphia Eagles.